Raise your hand if you've ever heard of the restaurant Panera Bread. Now, I hope none of you raised your hand, because if you did, you'd be an absolute buffoon, you straight up imbecile. I can't see if you do that. But I'm assuming a lot of you have heard of Panera Bread before. It's very popular. But did you know that it's now responsible for at least 2 deaths because of its menu item, charged lemonade? This is a fascinating, concerning, and pretty sad story that I just had to talk about, because with 2 deaths under its belt, the charged lemonade is almost as dangerous as just eating Tide Pods. Now, while 2 deaths doesn't seem like a lot statistically speaking, that's from one menu item on just innocent people whose only crime was looking for a tasty beverage. Like, this is very alarming stuff. So yeah, it may not be like piling up corpses to the sky or anything, but 2 people dying from just drinking lemonade from the menu is a problem. Now, when I first saw the headlines, I assumed it was like contaminated product or something, like something must have gone wrong with the lemonade. I thought it'd be like turns out in their charged lemonade, the secret ingredient was pink sauce, so people were dying of botulism and cringe or something. But it's actually not that. Their charged lemonade is a caffeinated drink that was improperly advertised, so people that shouldn't be consuming caffeine, or like huge amounts of caffeine, were consuming the charged lemonade, and unfortunately 2 people did die from it. And it is a lot of caffeine in the charged lemonade. It's not like just a couple tiddlywinks worth of caffeine, it's a lot. Now, the most recent death is that of a 46-year-old man from Florida whose family has now filed a wrongful death and negligence lawsuit against Panera. Now, his name is David Brown. He had high blood pressure and didn't consume energy drinks, but in the lawsuit, he said he believed the charged lemonade was safe since it was not advertised as an energy drink. It was offered in the same place as the restaurant chain's non-caffeinated or less caffeinated drinks, which is obviously a huge problem because there are people with underlying conditions that should not be consuming a ton of caffeine. This is the perfect example of that. That's why you need to properly label these beverages, because they can be legitimately dangerous to people that aren't aware of what's in them. According to the lawsuit, on October 9th, Brown had the drink 3 times during a visit to Panera Bread. Apparently this was part of like their endless sipping offer. I don't know what it's called at Panera, fucking Super Sippers Deluxe something, the sip package, where you can get like refills, multiple refills. So I'm assuming he got this refilled 3 times in Florida, and on his walk home he suffered cardiac arrest and died a short time later. He had ordered a Panera charged lemonade at least 7 times over the course of 2 weeks from September to October. An extremely sad situation that was easily avoidable. David Brown knew about his underlying condition and did everything he could to avoid anything that would cause him problems, but he simply didn't know that the Panera charged lemonade was a highly caffeinated drink. And unfortunately, it led to his death. Now, I do think this information is worth sharing here. Brown had a chromosomal deficiency disorder, developmental delays, some blurred vision, and a mild intellectual disability. He had worked at Publix for 17 years and would regularly go to Panera after work for meals as many as 3 times a week because, according to the lawsuit, he said the chain advertised as being a healthy alternative to other restaurants. This is something I see a lot of people say. This is a sentiment shared by many that they perceive Panera as being a healthy restaurant. And unfortunately, I too once believed this, but that's just not true. Panera is not healthier than most other chains. It's just genuinely not. If you actually look at the nutrition facts of what they serve, it's just as unhealthy as pretty much anything else you'd find elsewhere. You could probably find a Wendy's meal that might have more nutrition than some of the macros that Panera's offering. It is not necessarily a healthy place. It has some healthy options, sure, but so does fucking McDonald's too. Panera is not a healthy restaurant, especially not its soups. Its soups, some of them still have trans fat. I thought that shit got outlawed by the Geneva Convention, but no, like their broccoli cheddar soup does still have fucking trans fat in it. So it's not a great place to be eating if you're looking to be eating healthy, and it's certainly not a safe place to be drinking, I guess, with the charged lemonade out here like a fucking assassin taking people down. So I did want to just briefly mention that. Now let's talk about the other death that is being blamed on Panera's charged lemonade. A 21-year-old university student named Sarah Katz died of cardiac arrest after drinking the beverage in 2022. She was diagnosed with a congenital long QT syndrome type 1 when she was 5 years old, so she had an abnormal heart rhythm, which could be life-threatening. And according to the lawsuit, the charged lemonade was not advertised as an energy drink at the time that Katz ordered it. So Katz's family claimed that she didn't know that the drink had high levels of caffeine because it was inadequately labeled, and alleged her death is a direct result of drinking it. which I think is a very fair assessment. I imagine that a highly caffeinated beverage like the charged lemonade would be extremely bad for someone with her condition. So I do think that is a huge component of what led to her death. And according to this lawsuit as well, Panera just wasn't advertising the charged lemonade as being like a super caffeinated drink when they should. According to what I can find, the caffeine levels on the small are about 260, whereas if you get the large, it's 390 milligrams of caffeine, which is a fucking ton. And once again, the claim is being made that it was offered side by side with all of the store's non-caffeinated or less caffeinated drinks. It was not advertised as an energy drink, nor were there any warnings to consumers, which is completely unacceptable, because again, there are just people that can't drink that. But they wouldn't know that they can't drink it if it's not properly labeled as being a highly caffeinated drink, thus led to these situations, allegedly. It's just so easily avoidable if they had just said, hey look, charged lemonade, packed out the fucking wazoo with caffeine. Have your entire week's worth of caffeine allowance in a single sip. A goddamn chug jug of rat poison would do less damage to your body than the Panera charged lemonade. And especially with like the refills, what a diabolical combination. Now, Panera has responded with the most expected response. Panera expresses our deep sympathy for Mr. Brown's family. Based on our investigation, we believe his unfortunate passing was not caused by one of the company's products. We view this lawsuit, which was filed by the same law firm as a previous claim, to be equally without merit. Panera stands firmly by the safety of our products. It's not so much the safety of the lemonade, because most people can have one or two lemonades, though if you go to like 3, 4, even 5 charged lemonades, God rest your soul, it's gonna look like a crime scene. Your fucking heart will explode with this amount of caffeine. If you have like 5 charged lemonades from Panera, you better start writing down like your last wishes, because you're not making it out alive. So it's not so much like the product is unsafe to consume, it's that it wasn't properly labeled or properly conveyed to consumers how much caffeine was in there, so people that are sensitive to caffeine or have underlying conditions were drinking it, and it potentially led to these 2 deaths. Now, in the case of Sarah Katz, her friend said that she was very aware of her health and was very vigilant to avoid caffeine. She never drank coffee, so this indicates that she would be very much in tune with avoiding the charged lemonade had she known that there was so much caffeine in it. So Panera told ABC that there is still an ongoing investigation, but they did say we were saddened to learn last week about the tragic passing of Sarah Katz. While our investigation is ongoing, out of an abundance of caution, we have enhanced our existing caffeine disclosure for these beverages at our bakery cafes, on our website, and on the Panera app. Which is the whole point. You didn't do enough to make sure consumers were educated on how much caffeine was in there, or even if it was a highly caffeinated drink in the first place, if it was surrounded by other non-caffeinated or less caffeinated drinks. Like, you can't just fucking sneak it in there in between, like, the orange juice and the water. People are going to make the assumption, like, oh, this is probably just some kind of wacky lemonade. Most people wouldn't draw the conclusion, like, oh, this is probably a 400 fucking milligram bomb of caffeine. So it's just a matter of you needed to more effectively communicate to consumers that this is extremely caffeinated because it's dangerous not to. So yeah, buyers beware out there for any Panera enthusiasts. Maybe avoid the charged lemonade just in case. Just wanted to go over this a little bit. Pretty sad situation all around though. That's about it. See ya.